Hi, everyone. This is the Coping with Corona part of the Natural Wellness Academy, and I am so pleased to be the MC in this one because we have two women who are so renowned in the field of hypnotherapy. I've learned from both of them. I'm excited that they have decided to do some work for us pro bono during this period of time, and I think we can all benefit from it. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to go ahead and introduce them just briefly. And I think we're going to start with Debbie today, and she'll be talking to you about her theme and then guiding us through um, a hypnotherapy, like a little hypnotherapy technique. And then we'll go to Nancy, Dr. Nancy Barrick. And Nancy, did you want me to put on that piece of music? You know which music I'm talking about that you used in your recording when you do your technique? So I can
Um,
cue that up.
that might not be a bad idea if you have it handy, but
I'm
don't
gonna have to do it on my phone because, of course, right
do
when
it.
I was gonna do
Don't
this,
worry.
my little iPod charger, like it just blew a fuse or something. I've had it for many, many years, but it will play it very nicely on the phone because I use that
If,
when I
if
do my
it's easy to
self-hypnosis.
do, that would be lovely,
Okay.
but if
I
not,
personally like
well,
to
the
do it.
other way.
Okay,
Okay.
great. All right, I'm switching us then to the speaker view, and we are seeing Nancy right here, and this is Dr. Nancy Barrick. And I was telling those of you who are here a little bit early that I've known Nancy for probably about 25 years, and we've been really good friends for about 20 years, and just a really lovely woman. She's even done events for the Natural Wellness Academy, specializes in working also with, you've written books about disability, and I'll have you talk about your own story. And so we're going to see you in a little bit, and we're going to go to Debbie. Debbie, say something so that we'll put you into speaker's view.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hey. Okay, so Debbie Lane is from Wisdom Hypnosis in it's kind of greater Tampa Bay and Palm Harbor, Florida, and I've known her for going on about 10 years now. And I'm going to go ahead and let you take it from here. I'm even going to mute myself out. If you need something from me, just let me know, and then I'll unmute myself.
Okay. Very good. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm glad that you came. And I'm sure, just like everybody that I've been talking to, you've been experiencing a little bit of worry, concern, maybe fear. Just keep in mind that we can't rehearse for disaster. And so when we're what ifing all the way down to the world is going to blow up, we're spending the now rehearsing, and all we really have is the now. So I want to kind of assist you, if I can, in the process of getting back to now. And through the years, I've learned a lot of different methods and modalities to use when people have any kind of fear, panic attacks, anxiety, whatever, however you want to call it or label it. But one of my favorite tools is humor. And as my sons were growing up, I always taught them or told them as they would leave in the morning, find a reason to smile and laugh. When they came home at night and we were having dinner together around the table, we'd share the things we smiled and laughed about. And so I'm going to share something with you that Michael Elner once said that has stuck with me, and I have found to be actually incredibly true. And that is, when you think about how you feel physically during fear, and when people describe it, what do they talk about? Shortness of breath, pounding heart, they can't think clearly, their extremities tingle. When is another time that happens? Orgasm. And so there was a time that I had to be somewhere to be on the radio, and I was lost, running late, and I began to feel that anxiety. And when I realized what I was feeling and thought back to Michael Elner's comment, I burst into outrageous laughter. Suddenly my head cleared, I was able to find my way to the radio station, and everything was done perfectly. If anyone had ever asked me what I was thinking about, I would have been mortified. But nonetheless, that orgasm helped me get to the radio station. However, we can't always think about something funny. It doesn't always happen for us. And so there are things that we want to be able to do instantly. Think about a child and when they're worried, and how we want to calm them down, how we want to soothe them. One of the ways it will soothe the child is stroking the face. But right now we're told, don't touch our faces, okay? But another is to just gently touch their arms. Just kind of reassure them. Well, that's something you can think of to do at any time. And if in fact you were to take that method, that motion, and just take it all the way out to the hands and twist the hands and go back up to the shoulders and just continue doing that in a calm and gentle manner, that will begin to create calm. Now, going back to humor, I had a client who came to see me who was dealing with post-septic shock syndrome. And as a result, she had agoraphobia, she had night terrors, day terrors, she had physiological concerns as well. And so in the course of the session, this monster, this big black monster that she described showed up. And it had left her in a fetal position on the sidewalk days earlier. Her neighbors actually had to take her back home. She was 2 houses down and she couldn't find her way back. So the monster showed up in the session. So I got her to just do this. And as she did, I asked her to start singing Camptown Races to me. Well, that made no sense to her. And she just kind of thought that was weird, but she cooperated and she began to sing. And wouldn't you know, the monster disappeared. And I was able to take him from her. And literally, I went into the bathroom next door to my office, flushed him down the toilet. She could hear the toilet. And she said, oh, I'm safe. Well, on the wall in my office is a painting that I have that a lot of people try to interpret, but it's actually part of our DNA. My son had seen it under a microscope, but it looks like a black spider, sort of, all the lines. And she goes, it's the monster. He found his way and he's stuck. He can never get off that canvas again. You're right. You're right. Well, from there, she kind of began to think that it was funny that Camptown Races helped get rid of this monster. And so she had told me she had not thought of a reason to smile or laugh in 19 months. By the end of our session, she was laughing hysterically. She texted me later in the day and said, I don't know what you did, but my husband can't get over the change. He thinks that it's hysterical that I keep laughing at everything he says. How magnificent. And so if we want to think of this silent enemy that we've got right now as that big black monster, we have the ability to stop him, to get rid of him. So one thing that I like to do as well as humor is to ask questions. And let's face it, right now we're all asking a lot of questions. When is this going to be over? When can we get back to normal? What if this hits me? What would happen to me? Oh, you name it. And the problem is our subconscious mind is programmed to finding the answers to those questions, to finding evidence that backs up those questions. So I like to reframe the questions. And instead of saying, you know, the numbers of how many we've lost is horrendous. What if I'm next? I try and say, what if I'm amongst those that are survivors? What if those that are healing? Let's look at those numbers. And what if I'm one of them? Or what if I'm able to do something that makes a difference for someone else in this situation? What if I can somehow volunteer or help out in a way that helps people not only survive, but thrive this awful thing? And it helps because then my subconscious mind is now looking for evidence such as this experience where I'm given the opportunity to turn things around in my world and hopefully in the world of others. I apologize if you hear that horn up the street. I don't know what that's about. But so what I'm not doing, what I'm trying my best not to do is watch too much news, because what they say at the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, and at the end of the day has pretty much been the same. So if I can just watch it once or maybe twice a day, I'm good. And then I'm trying to watch comedies and fun things and silly things. Or I'm doing something like this. Whatever I'm doing, I'm focusing on what's right in my life. And so I'm just not allowing negativity. I'm not allowing people to call me and just kvetch. if they want to call and they've got a sincere issue, yeah, we'll talk about it for a minute or two. But again, then let's just begin to think about the bright side. You know, even if you have to think about a funny comedy, whatever it is. I do believe that you want to embrace your feelings, however. If you're feeling fear, because you know that what we resist persists, so embrace it, identify where it is in your body, and then you can release it. And so I'm going to show you, again, with these arms, or walk you through just a little way of dealing with it. So if you would like, cross your arms and very lovingly rub down your arms to your hands, twist those hands, and roll back up to those shoulders. And just continue to do that for a few moments. And as you do it, passively begin to recognize all the sensations in your body. Notice, excuse me just a moment, I apologize. Okay, as you continue to do this, notice how your body feels. Notice how your toes feel. Are you carrying stress in your toes? Wiggle them. Notice how your feet feel. Focus on how your tummy feels. Focus on how your heart rate feels. Begin to notice all of those sensations. And when you're ready, as you continue to just gently massage your arms, go ahead and close your eyes in your own time, in your own way, simply because that allows you to see much better inside your own mind, behind those eyelids where we all live, where our thoughts and dreams are created. That's right. And then imagine that we're standing together at the bottom of a hill. And it's a very, very steep incline. Now, you've all agreed to go up this hill with me. You really don't want to when you see how steep it is. But you're a person of your word, and so you're going to go up this hill with me. And in addition, I've given you a backpack. Now, I don't know all of your baggage, but I know that this virus is inside of that backpack. And so you begin to walk up that hill with me. That's right. And we get about a third of the way and we stop to rest. Your feet have been so heavy trudging up that hill. And as we stop to rest, the most beautiful bird flies above. And you're taken by the beauty of that bird, by the brilliance of the colors of those feathers. And the bird seems to sing. And that song is just exactly what you wanted to hear. And so we continue going up that hill. And as we continue going up that hill, we get about halfway. And at halfway again, we stop to rest. And as we stop to rest, the backpack falls off your shoulders and rolls all the way down to the bottom of that hill. And you can't help but wonder, as you look at me forlornly, if you have to go all the way down and get that backpack again. But I simply reassure you that no, watch. And as you do, that backpack begins to disintegrate and crumble. That's right. And so as you're gently massaging your hands and your arms and your shoulders and back again, you watch, and that backpack becomes like the pebbles in the dirt at the bottom of the hill. You take a huge sigh of relief as the wind picks it up, turns it into a ball of some sort, and takes it off into the stratosphere. And so you turn and we continue going up that hill. And when we get to the top of that hill, you look and you see in the distance mountain ranges, and then you see the lights of a distant village, and you see forests, and you see beaches, and you see all the beauty, and you realize that you are at the top of that hill. And whatever it was that you were carrying is gone. And so relax your hands back into your lap. Imagine how you want to feel now. breathe in that feeling of confidence, that feeling of healing. And perhaps that feeling of victory. And then ask yourself, what is it that you learned from this? How going forward can you take this moment now with you to become stronger from this experience, to become wiser from this experience, to become the authentic you that you were meant to be? And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Good. Now, what we did there was a little bit of a combination. Yes, it was hypnosis, but it was also using another therapy, sensory therapy, that allowed you to feel. And as you did, as I was talking, what happens is the brain, the fear part, the amygdala, it shut down. The fear chemicals released. And then you were able at the end to fill that empty space with something powerful. And that was something that you gave to yourself, something that you wanted to have in order to be stronger, happier, more comfortable through this situation. I'll be honest, I've had my moments. I always say I give myself 24 minutes for a pity party, or 24 hours, for a pity party. I've had my moments through this process of wondering, what's going to become of my life and how am I going to be defined? But I can always remember to do this. And I can remember to climb up the hill, or I can remember to tell myself a joke. My husband's a very good driver. I want to start with that caveat. When I ride with him in his vehicle and he's driving, I'm not in control. And the control freak in me wants to control the highway driving. And so there are times that I feel like he's too close to someone or somebody's going to cut us off, whatever. And suddenly I'll just start doing this. I don't do the whole process, but I just do this. And I sing along to a song that's on the radio. And suddenly his driving has improved tremendously. Now, either he's picked up on the cue, or more likely, I've picked up on the cue that it can be okay and that I can be okay. I've used this with a nurse, one in particular. I've used it with several nurses and doctors that I've been working with who are combating this virus. And one, when we first started out, she was angry at everybody. She was angry at humor. Just the mention of humor brought sparks and anger. And we did this process together, and she happens to be a photographer of birds and a very talented one. Well, really put in that process of the birds. And she texted me so excited the next day on her way into her next shift. She said, I was walking across the tunnelway, whatever it is that connects the parking lot to the hospital. And she said, Deb, I actually heard the birds outside for the first time. I couldn't believe it. And I knew as I suited up that I was going to be okay. So give yourself that gift, if you will. Thank you.
That was so beautiful. I love that. I love that somatic part of it, because that is very soothing.
Yes, thank you.
And I think we just need soothing right now. I mean, this is...
To me, that's why it's so important is, again, background, I ran a national chain of childcare centers. And nap time, my teachers and teachers' aides were required to soothe the babies into sleep, their backs. It helped them calm down. So if in fact that inner child, because let's face it, our fear is our inner child screaming, because intellectually we know that we've overcome a lot in our history, our personal history. So more than likely, our personal history should teach us that we'll overcome more again. However, that inner child is screaming. So doing this is soothing
Yeah,
me.
it just doesn't know. I mean, it's the unknown, which really scares the
Exactly.
inner child. So
It's
tell
like the
people,
monster under the bed before the flashlight.
well, mine was in the closet, so I had to close the closet every night so that at least if it came out, I'd have the head start of hearing the closet door. And one night the inevitable happened. The closet door started, and I could still remember. Well, Linda, who's on here remembers my brother. It was my brother, and just it was just he knew that this was my bugaboo. And, I felt like I was having a heart attack, at the moment. Yeah.
Brothers, oi.
Oy. So tell people how to contact you, and of course, below this video, we will have that information too. And I
Okay,
know that you are offering here to do free sessions with healthcare workers too.
yes, I am. Anyone in the healthcare industry, any first responders. My website is wisdomhypnosis.com. And probably that's the easiest way to contact me. My office number is area code 727-215-0283. So that's another way. Also, Linda, I did want to share this whole thing about, we had talked about this earlier, about the toilet paper hoarding.
Oh, yes. Yes, we did
Okay.
talk about that. Okay.
Again, background in early childhood, when children are being potty trained, very often when the poo is taken away, they'll cry. They think of it as a part of themselves. I would have my teachers take potty training children in, clap and cheer when they went, remove them from the bathroom and let the teacher's aide flush so that they didn't see it go away. Well, the three things we can control in life as a toddler are whether or not we eat, whether or not we sleep, and whether or not we poo. If the child's having training issues with food, with poo, or if they're refusing to eat or holding food in their cheeks, their life has been out of control. If they're having sleep issues. Well, this toilet paper thing is our inner child saying, oh no, I'm going to take control. Say people were hoarding food, canned foods and meats and whatnot. Oh no, I'm going to take control. So keep that in mind. And when you see someone who's a hoarder, instead of being angry with them, realize that their inner child is terrible.
Right. Right. That's a really good perspective, because it is easy to become judgmental, and we really do, it's that old adage, but it's so true. It's like when you're pointing the finger, you're really pointing three fingers at yourself. So it kind of comes back on you. So.
Well, that's it. And I'm really good at judging. So I've got techniques not to.
We have that Leo thing about judging, and also that being in control. So I can relate. Well, thank you so much. And Nancy, if you want, I'm going to open up Nancy's. Okay. And Debbie, I'm just going to mute you for now, but I'll open up, you up again when we're going to close down. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm good. How are
Okay.
you?
I'm good, and I feel really good. I really enjoyed that
Oh,
somatic.
that's amazing.
I'm
Go,
looking,
Debbie. That was
I'm looking forward to hearing yours. So what I will do is I will let you introduce yourself. I'm going to mute my microphone, and then when you're ready to start your technique, I'm going to, play the music through my phone for you, because I know I like music when I'm doing
Yeah,
hypnotherapy. I mean, I was so impressed with Debbie
will.
doing that without music in the background. I was just so lulled by her voice. So I had mentioned a little bit about you, but tell your story, because it is so
I
inspirational.
will.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself now.
Okay, thanks, LJ. Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Nancy Barrick. People call me Nancy. Don't worry about the doctor stuff. I was born with muscular dystrophy. And when LJ met me, I was a wheelchair scooter user. Scooter, wheelchair scooter, whatever. And, I had this all my life, supposedly. And using the technique of one of our wonderful colleagues, Patty Conklin, I was able to get rid of it. But one of the things I learned as I was loosening up that stuff, I call it stuff, because most of the other words I would use for that gunk are like really rude. So that stuff that we have is that when you take it out, there's a space. And nature abhors a vacuum. If you don't put something else in there, that stuff is going to come back. And so what I chose to put in there was joy. Because I'd rather be happy and joyful than full of judgment, anger, pain, whatever. And I think most people would. And that kind of reminds me of this time that we're going through. People are not able to do the things they normally do. They are maybe worried about money. Maybe they are anxious about their family, or really wanting to go out or do things that they normally do. And they're feeling less happy, or they think they're less happy. And I think the trick is, and what I've been doing in my much smaller home than where I lived when LJ visited me, I'm actually in 4/5 of the, no, 2/5 of the amount of space, is doing the things that give me joy. And I have a pretty good idea of what those are because I've done some of these activities before. But I just want to say something about the toilet paper. And I think Debbie's absolutely right. It is fear. My mother is a child of the Depression. She was born in 1934. And she's the child of a somewhat disorganized family. And I'm sure she ran out of stuff. They ran out of things she wanted. In my 61 years, that woman has never run out of anything at all, ever, or lost a sock in the laundry. She's just freaking amazing. And she was having real anxiety about toilet paper, to the extent that when she got down to 4 rolls, she started using alternative substances instead, because you can't be out of something. And that was fear. And we had plenty. We gave her some. We bought her some. My sister offered to send her a case from one of the online companies. The woman has toilet paper, let me tell you, so she could relax. But it's been anything that as soon as she opens her spare one of something, please, will you get me another one? I don't have a spare. And I understand that's the frightened child who didn't have whatever for her lunch the next day. And understanding that that's the child makes it much easier to be softer, to be more loving, to say, don't worry about it, Mom, I got you. You know? And that's just something that I just wanted to add into that. And thank you, Debbie, for expressing it so well. So a lot of people talk about joy, and they may think it's some high spiritual, sitting cross-legged in front of a fire, and that might be something you love to do. But that isn't the only thing that's joy in this world. So I have my little notes here. What is joy? Joy, when I say joy, I don't really mean just kind of pleased or calm. I mean like a little kid on Christmas. I mean giddy. I mean totally happy. When my grandchildren were little and they would start to feel real joy, they would go like this and jump up and down, like they couldn't control their little bodies. And that's the feeling I want to get in touch with. So yeah, I'm enjoying a lot of the things I'm doing right now. But the real giddy joy, that's what you're looking for. And for some people, that might be going out on a hike and seeing the little flowers come up. That might be like opening the best present in the world. And I say, go for it. When you feel that joy, there's no room for fear. There's no room for any form of upset. you fill the body and the mind with that amazingly great feeling. And I mean, obviously, we aren't going to get that every 2 seconds in our life, but we aim to have as much of it as we can and to understand that feeling so that we can call on it. Because if you have that feeling and you're familiar with that feeling in your heart, then when something does go wrong, you can tap into it. And I don't mean that, if somebody dies, something terrible happens, you're going to tap into that feeling and get giddy happy. But you're going to know that you will be able to again. And that's important. So, what are the rules of joy? There aren't any, or very few. Whatever it is for you, it doesn't matter what it is. If other people don't feel the same way about the thing, that's okay. So why joy? Why do we want to feel joy? Besides, it feels darn good. There are these little chemicals in your body you've probably heard of. They're called endorphins. They're a hormone. They're like 10 times stronger than morphine as far as reducing pain and physical stress. Endorphins stabilize your blood pressure. When you're upset, your blood pressure will go up, and that's not good for your health. Endorphins will stabilize that naturally, happily. They improve your metabolism. You're going to digest, you're going to use the oxygen and everything that you're getting. And that's really important, especially if anyone you know does develop lung complications, to be able to use the oxygen, to metabolize. It reduces your stress, your fear, your anxiety. Your physical health, your mental health improve. Your immune system is stronger when you're joyful. And it's just amazing stuff. And we deserved it. Don't forget, the pursuit of happiness is guaranteed in the Constitution. So you deserve this. And you're living your best life when you're joyful. And those around us will share it. I don't know how many people are with other people in their home right now. Or even if you're alone, the people you talk to, your FaceTime buddies. I don't think there's very many of us who are having no communication with anyone. If you are joyful, you create joy in others, which I think is about the best thing you could do. So I have a couple of little activities. And the first one is what I call a gratitude or a joy exercise. Look around you wherever you are. I happen to be in my bedroom. Look around. Notice the things or people or animals that are around you. Just notice them. Take a moment. Think about how you experience those things. What do you do with them? How do you feel about them when you're using them? Just give it a minute. And imagine and remember how these things improve your life. Now notice what you're feeling inside. You're feeling grateful, or at least I am. And I looked around at some very mundane things. I looked at my bed, which is very comfortable. So I know how I use that, how I feel about that. I see a cup of tea over here. Again, I look at the cup of tea, I notice it. I think about how I experience some of my favorite teas, and one of my favorite mugs. And I think about that, and I think about how that makes me feel. And that is a calming, a centering, a gratitude feeling. You can also look at things that bring you joy. Or think about if that item fits into that category of joy, or is it gratitude? Both are good. Now, another exercise I do with my clients who are, shall we say, joy deprived, joy deficient. And here we have Linda Joy. I ask them to consider, and I do this a lot with people who have new disabilities, consider different activities that people engage in. I have them look on the internet at things people do. They may look through magazines. Whatever it is, they may see people going out to eat, people skiing, people doing all kinds of stuff, hiking, baking, whatever. And they may watch something on TV about it. And I ask them to ask their body whether each of those activities is appropriate for them. And the way I have them ask their body is, I'm sure most of you know how to do kinesiology, where you take your thumb and your pinky finger on your non-dominant hand, you take your pinchers on your dominant hand, and you say, is that for me? If it holds, if the circuit holds as you open, then yeah, that's a possibility for you. If not, it's a no. Now, also people have a yes and a no in their body. And you could just ask your body, show me my no, show me my yes. Now, I'm a little weird. Or unusual perhaps. I've known my yes and no since I was about 2 years old. My no is kind of an ache in my lower abdomen, and my yes is a light feeling up in the upper abdominal area. And I've used it my whole life. I used it in my childhood. And I figured out in middle school, I guess, that it was not cheating to use that on a math test. I studied, I learned, you'd look at a problem, and if the answer in my head was the correct answer, I'd get my yes feeling. And once I figured out that everybody has a body and they have a choice about using it, so go ahead and use it. So I asked my clients to test or use their body or use a pendulum if they prefer, whatever. Different people like different things. On all of the activities that are available. Now, right here, obviously, going to the skating rink isn't available. But there are lots of things that are available or available in a different way at the moment. And that's okay. Think about the hundreds of things you can do while social distancing, and ask your body which ones are appropriate for you. And you can also reject anything that you just don't want to do. And then consider how the best way to do these things is now. And the goal is to do things that give you joy. I mean, I could go for a long walk along the busy road out here, which isn't so busy right now. That wouldn't be really fun. Or I could walk around the lake, which would be fun. I can choose what gives me joy. So, and consider how you can give yourself, after going through this process with different activities, and it may just be watching about it on TV, learning about it. And that's okay because you're preparing to do it. Now, when my clients, and I've worked with a lot of people with disabilities, new disabilities, for an obvious reason. When my clients say, oh, I can't do things, whatever, whatever, I do this little exercise with them that I'm going to want to do right now. If we have time, LJ? Okay. And it's called Remembering the Dreams.
Okay, do you want me to cue up the music?
Sure. This helps you to remember who you are and to stay who you are. So I'd like everyone to get comfortable.
Is that
And
okay at the level? Can you hear that?
yeah, that's beautiful. Everybody just take a nice deep breath and let it out. And as you breathe in, notice that your lungs expand. All of those muscles expand to let the air into your lungs. And as you breathe out, all of those muscles relax. And you breathe in and out. Feeling the breath, bringing your body into a calmer, more peaceful state. Easily, comfortably, peacefully. Anywhere in your body, notice your shoulders, your elbows, your toes, anywhere in your body that is at all tight, at all constrained. Untie it, let it release. Let your eyes close naturally and comfortably, allowing your body to just follow your thoughts down and bringing yourself into whatever level of comfort you want at this moment. A nice way to do that is to imagine a yardstick in front of you with the number 0 at the bottom and the number 30 up at the top. Each number, starting with 30 and going down, reflects a deeper level of relaxation than the number above it, so that 20 is more relaxed than 21. And you've got a pointer next to the yardstick. Just let it point at whatever level of relaxation you're experiencing right now. And as you take another deep breath, allow it to sink to another number. And with each breath, you allow it to sink as deeply as you'd like it to go. If there's any resistance, take that pointer and point it to the number where you would like to be. And then imagine and pretend that you're that relaxed. Imagine and pretend how your body would feel. Imagine how your mind would feel. And now pretend that you're not pretending and you're just that relaxed. And as you just sort of hang out here in this comfortable state of relaxation, I'd like you to think back to when you were a child and some of the things you thought you might like to do or be or know. And now that you have in mind a couple of things from your childhood, look at those things and decide if they resonate with you now, or what aspect of them resonates with you now. And resolve later to make a plan to do whatever it is that resonates with you now. And as you think about that, you know that this fills you with joy to do or to experience or to read about or to choose what it is that resonates with you right now. So as you've made a choice, we're going to release the relaxation just a little bit and begin to come back to the room that we're in the space that we're in, and check in with ourselves. And notice there may be a little bubbling up here and there of joy, or a sense of peace, or a sense of eagerness to do or to discover. And I hope that this gives you a deeper sense of joy at this time, because joy is kind of what I do.
That's so beautiful, Nancy. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
And I know that you are offering stop smoking sessions free right now. This would be a
I'm
really good
offering,
time because it's easy to kind of fall into those habits. So
it is, and also because non-smokers fare better if they do get sick.
right, it's an excellent
So I'm
point.
offering a number of non-smoking sessions each week, free, first sessions. And most people do quit smoking after the one session. And I'm offering a significant discount on follow-up sessions if they need them. And
And
people,
that is true because I used to do something for all of these counties in California, and there were so many people with one session that could quit smoking.
yeah, and also I am offering them to essential workers at no charge, doctors, nurses, medical workers, grocery workers,
Oh,
people
service, people who are out there working.
people who are out there endangering their lives for the rest of us. I can do that, and that's just something I can offer. The way Debbie is offering those sessions as well.
Yes, and of
And
course, I will have my contact info on there too, and we are all offering pro bono. And I have to say, I'm surprised at how little that people are taking advantage of that. I just had like a wonderful session with an adorable young woman yesterday, and I love doing the work pro bono. So if you are watching this, if you've been afraid to reach out, just go to the units and look over all of the coaches and see who you resonate with, see what they're offering, and reach out to us because we're here. And, like we always say, we're all in this together. How
right.
do people contact you, Nancy?
Okay, my website is www.docnancie, and that's Nancy with an IE and doctor spelled out. And it's really important they use the IE because Dr. Nancy with a Y is an internist in Kentucky.
Oh, that's funny.
And I think she's a blonde, not me.
And
I'm
if they
sure
have,
she's
if
lovely, but
you have a contact form on the website, or do you want to just give an
I
email?
do.
Yeah.
I have a contact form, but my email is docnancie, DOCNANCIE at AOL.com. And my phone number is 703-385-9311.
Great. Thank you so much. We've got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to put us back on gallery view. I'm going to open up people's microphones, although, hi, Nancy. How are you? I see Nancy. Oh, I thought that's right. I said Nancy Everhart is here. I saw that you. Hi, Beth. How are you? And we'll unmute anybody who wants to be unmuted. And hi, Rhonda. So does anybody have any questions about hypnotherapy, about mind dynamics, which is kind of like um, some of this that we were doing was really more like mind dynamics, not using the deep state, although really I would say that all hypnosis is really, all mind dynamics are hypnosis at a certain level, and vice versa. When you're in the hypnotic state, and I don't personally use under hypnosis because I think it's pejorative. It makes people feel that they're perhaps under somebody's control, which really never happens. It's really just heightened awareness. It's not like you're zoned out and you can't, you don't, nobody's giving you anesthesia or nobody's, done one of those karate chops to your jugular, which, I was saying this yesterday in an event that we did a webinar, and I had a gynecologist when I lived back in Newport Beach, and he was really a brilliant man. He had worked with Doctors Without Borders, and every time I walked into his office, he'd take his watch off and he'd go like that because he knew, that was my field. I traveled internationally. It was like, that even the brightest people still don't really understand what hypnosis is. So if anybody have any questions or
I could just
specifically?
make a comment.
Yes.
I talk about hypnosis trance as just being the ritual. Transition's already been made. Now they just want the ritual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I were to ask you to close your eyes and just start thinking about what you had for dinner last night, what is it like? Kind of, you're like quarter of the way there already. Because you're listening, you're doing what somebody is suggesting that you do, and you are starting to recess to your subconscious to remember. So that starts the process right there. It's a simple process. It's just really learning how to use it, because otherwise we're used by it, because we do go in and out of the hypnotic state naturally about a dozen times a day. Like when you're doing something, you get somewhere, you've been driving, and you're like,
And just when I thought I couldn't love him more, listen to what my friend Leo DiCaprio is doing. He started something called the All In Challenge. He's trying to raise a.
What?
I don't know what that was. I don't know.
I have a quick question. What
Sure.
is the difference between a guided meditation and hypnosis, or is there a difference?
Debbie, do you want to take that one?
Okay, pretty much it's the same thing. It's a matter of, with a guided meditation, people are often having you visualize something of their own writing, making, whatever. With hypnosis, I find that often I will just allow the person to create their own images. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we don't create images. Like we even have on the website, and I'll probably post a link to that too, a little self-test to find out whether you take in information more visually or auditorily or kinesthetically.
Right.
So sometimes when you're guiding somebody in a meditation, like I remember Dr. Krasner, who started the American Institute of Hypnotherapy and American Board, and I was like, I said, and he was really a second father to me, and his wife, Arlene, it's actually her birthday today. She's 92 today, and I'm about to go give her a call. Yeah, I will tell her hi from you. But I used to say, Al, I love you, but I use your guided imagery as a way to teach people what not to do in hypnosis, because he would put them on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean. He would have them walking down a stairway. And these are really kind of no-nos, because you don't know what somebody's phobias might be about
Exactly.
being, and you don't also, if you tell a person that they should see something and they can't see it, then they're going to be fighting it on a conscious level. They're going, I can't see it, I don't visualize really well, so this is why working with a person, you find out and you're able to create imagery that is along the pathway that they're going to,
Imagination.
yeah, if you get on their communication superhighway by knowing how they communicate, you are really able to access. And this is what's called neuro-linguistic programming too.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, we do have a really great
question.
little course called Intro to Mind Dynamics for anybody that might be interested. It's a great intro. And really the book for that, although we have a lot of other material in the units under materials, there's the book that I offered when I was doing, Jamie and I last week were talking about doing this 21-day thing, which I think on my 10th day today, or maybe it's my 11th. And so it's actually, you'll learn a lot about hypnosis, a very quick book, It's less than 100 pages. You just can read the 20 pages that intro it, and then you choose the theme and you work on it yourself. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Debbie. Were you saying something? Oh,
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Mm.
does that make sense, Rhonda?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you.
Yeah, it is a good question. Does anybody else have any questions before I kind of sign us out? And then I can sign us out, and then if you have questions that you don't want to be on camera, we always stay a few minutes after that. So I will. Okay, I think that I will go ahead and stop the recording. And just so if you're watching this, just look below. It's going to be on YouTube, and you'll see all of our contact information there below. And you're always welcome to reach out to us. So